Hello. Hey. I was promised that the changing of the lights would make people applause, and it did. That bodes well. Thank you for coming. For those of you who don't know us, I'm Ben. This is James. James is going to be my wonderful assistant for the evening. Sorry about that. 3 years ago, we launched Curatr for the first time. This is the first time we ever made a product. We'd always been a service company before then. So making a product was a real step into the unknown. And it was based out of research that I've been doing around why we needed to be more social in our online learning experiences. Fundamentally, I thought e-learning, which I'd worked in for 10 years at this time, was a bit dull. And that maybe we should do something about that. And Curatr was our attempt to do something. So in 2011, we launched something that looked a bit weird and worked vaguely. And a few people, bless them, tried it, and it was okay. So we got some positive feedback to carry on. And then in 2012, we launched a second version. And that went really quite well for us. And actually, since that time, we've hit quite a host of customers and partners and things like that. And so a few of them are somewhere here today. But since then, we've had the fortune of working with Shell, thinking about innovation. We've had fortune working with Barclays, induction. Desjardins in Canada, thinking about customer service excellence. KPMG, thinking for some reason about Excel training, which wasn't what it was meant to do at all, but whatever. So all of these people, even KPMG, had one thing in common. They wanted to do something that was a bit more social with their e-learning. So we wouldn't call ourselves a social learning platform. That's kind of Yammer and SharePoint's kind of domain, is kind of informal communications in the organization. We're at the e-learning end of it, but a social twist. So we started calling ourselves a social e-learning platform. So there's another bunch of words for you there. The key reason that we wanted to exist was because I had this belief that being compliant or being more compliant was not going to be enough for companies to compete going forwards. The idea that e-learning has been sort of mired in this fair drudgery of being compliance-related tick box exercises only. There's a great place for that, and e-learning can do a great job there. But what I was thinking is that actually you're not going to get competitive advantage from just being more compliant. What you need is to start getting people's experiences, insights, inspiration into the room and start talking about it. I thought we were way too focused on creating the perfect piece of content. We're charging people, and I will gladly charge you, £20,000 for an hour's worth of e-learning. It's not a problem. We can do that out in the hall. But the trouble is we're so down with this, going to make the perfect piece of content, everyone will watch it, they'll learn, and life will be better. But it's not how it happens. Somebody watches something, they reflect on it, maybe they implement it, maybe they don't. Change is really hard. And so actually we think that people need to participate a lot more before change is ever going to occur. So this is why we built Curatr. We wanted to get organizations earning something from the insights of their people to make a more social way of doing things. Version 3, which is kind of what brought us here today, it has got a bunch of new stuff in it, which I think is quite exciting. I think it will enable us to do all of those things I've talked about and more. First of all, we're sort of going to blaze a bit of a trail, which might lead in flames, with HTML5. So we've created a HTML5 responsive design for our next version of Curatr. This means that we're able to give you a seamless experience across iPhones, smartphones, tablets, desktop devices. We also have made a bit of a flash thing in case you haven't got a new browser. So we kind of, that was James's doing there. So we can do it for older PCs, but we're really keen to be on the cutting edge of what HTML5 can do. We're one of the early adopters of the new tin can standard. This you probably would have heard of, has come out of the US over the last couple of years and gained a lot of ground. We are probably the most advanced learning platform taking advantage of it. We're doing things with tin can that they designed it to do. We've really revamped our gamification system. We weren't really sure back in 2011 that gamification was a thing, and it turns out it is. And we've done a lot of research about what good gamification looks like, and we've had some horrifying experiences about what bad gamification looks like, and hopefully we're enabling you guys to make some really good, engaging, game-like experiences. Part of that is the ability to create your own badges. So we now have a complete ability to create quests, badges, and award those. And we're going to be tying in with things like the open badge movement from Mozilla to help deliver those. Finally, of course, we wouldn't be Curatr if we didn't have some new curation features. So when we started out, we weren't really sure that we get anybody to participate, to do anything in our platform. And it turns out we shouldn't have worried. They did. It turns out people really love points. You will all play for points. You say you won't, you will. And so actually participation is not a problem. But now we've got all this stuff. What are we going to do with it? So actually we've had to put a bunch of new curation features in to start rewarding not just quantity but quality when it comes to people contributing in a social online environment. So enough talk. I think we should probably show it to you. So, my wonderful assistant. Moment of truth. This is Curatr3. It looks totally different to the previous version, and you'll see why in a moment. I'm going to log in as Jasper. Jasper is one of the office dogs, and he's been slightly busy with the social learning experience. He's not as cute as he looks. He's really not. Anybody who's been to our office will know. Very simple home screen. Just a few things. The branding on this is just white label at the moment. Everything, the colours and things, completely brandable to your own organisation. Down the right-hand side, you see a bunch of courses. Actually, we're going to look at the Learning About Social Learning course. We're actually going to start releasing a bunch of MOOCs, massive open online courses, that go with Curatr over the coming weeks. And one of those is going to be this one, Learning About Social Learning. And so I really do hope that you guys are able to sign up and participate in that with us. We're doing that over the next few weeks, kicking off on October 1st. When we're in the home screen of a course, we see things very differently than we would before. There's a bit of information kicking about. Now, I've been in this once or twice before, so I've actually started creating content. We've got some info on what's going on. We've got videos of introducing you to the platform. On the right-hand side, we've got leaderboards, trending comments. Ben Jest at the top of the leaderboard. Trending comments, enabling you to get in really quickly and easily and see what other people are talking about. And things like badges coming up on the left-hand side. Let's go learn something. This will look kind of familiar to you if you've used Curatr before. So when you get into our learning area, you get a level objective. This is what you're going to need to do in order to progress through this game. And so we organize learning content that you curate from anywhere into a social game. Can we dismiss that? Behind the screen there, you'll see these three sort of learning objects. Each one of those is representative of a piece of content. It could be a video, it could be a website, it could be a piece of e-learning, it can be anything. The idea is I'm going to need to earn points in order to progress through the levels and open up more content, and gradually this screen will fill. Previously, this was all Flash. Everything you're looking at the screen here is HTML. I also have a terrible man flu. There's not enough sympathy in this audience for me. That's better. No, it's okay, I'll recover. Thank you. So, at the top of the screen, I have some experience points, and they're being counted up. I earn experience points by viewing, commenting, and contributing to the content that's here. James, you able to flick to the iPhone a second? We flick to an iPhone? Because we have an iPhone. And you'll see that actually this is where the HTML5 stuff, the responsive stuff, really comes into play, because the exact same interface available on smartphone, on tablets, on everything. Works seamlessly. It is fantastic. The only thing that isn't seamless about it is when your Wi-Fi doesn't work in here, in which case it's not so seamless. But it looks nice. If we click on Clive Shepherd, for instance, say hello to Clive. Some of you will know Clive. This is the way in which we do things in Curatr. This is our experience on social learning. And in order to get people thinking about social learning, I didn't go and make new content. I went and found relevant quality content that already existed. It could have been on the web. It could have been in my own reserves of IP. It could have been occasionally making some short conversations. But Clive and I had actually had a conversation about social learning before. And he'd made this blog of us arguing about whether all learning is social or not. And I thought it was quite a good argument. So I thought that's quite a nice place to start. So at the top of the screen, you see the content, and that, again, could be anything. And at the bottom of the screen, we have comments and discussions going on. So for every object in Curatr, you can create this panel if you so want it. Over on the left-hand side, we have a discussion point. This is what I want you to think about. And then people coming along, having conversations. How is he at the top of the leaderboard? What is that about? The algorithms need work. One of the problems that we wanted to try and overcome here is thinking about how we do reward quality. So at the top there, you have Alan making a very nice thing about philosophical discussions, and we have the ability to vote up and vote down people's responses. One different thing that we do, if you go to vote up, then you have to tell us why. I need to know why you're voting up or why you're voting down, and these are customizable based on what you want. In our case, we've elected on whether somebody is starting the discussion, developing it, or resolving it. But these are worth different amounts of points, and with this sort of technology, we can start to tease out that Alan is actually pretty good at developing discussions around social learning, or something like that. Let's get out of this one, and let's go see Nick. So now that I've read that, the circle's turned green, signals that I've read it, I've earned an experience point, I need 4 XP to get to the next level, I've got 3. Click on Nick, and we'll go and earn a point very quickly. So just play that video quickly. So this, we've only set it to be a very short timer, about 8 seconds. Well, there you go. It's given me a point. The idea is that you can set the amount of time somebody needs to be interacting with a piece of content before it gives them an experience point. And how many experience points you give them is up to you. Having done that, we can pause him for a moment. This is Nick Shackleton-Jones thinking about emotion in learning, and I think that's a really important part of social learning. We can do things like bookmark it for later, because it seems like an important part. I actually just got a little quest badge there. So we've set up some quests, some badges that people can start doing and earning as they go along. This is how we start to shape some more behavior here. Now, obviously, that was a very easy badge to get. But let's think about those votes that we had a moment ago. I can start specifying that there's a badge that's about critical thought in social learning. So if you've made n number of comments in the sort of social learning world, and others have rated them as developing or resolving the discussion, I can start to give you the badge, critical thinker in social learning. And you can progress through that quest. Really simple to do, really easy. Let's close that out, because I think we've got enough points to go to the next level. So now, in order to go between level 1 and level 2, I need to pass what we call a gate, an assessment of some sort. This one is a peer response question, a discussion question. So in order to get from level 1 to level 2, I have to answer this question. The question is, do you believe that all learning is social? We have a room full of learning experts. Is all learning social?
No.
No. Develop your thought, Leslie.
Why is not all learning social? Because still people are put on in classrooms, bums on seats, and told to sit and listen.
Okay, but do I learn socially in that situation?
If you're allowed to talk. And then the teacher saying, if you can't eat your pudding, you can't eat your meat.
That sounds like some sort of deep, ingrained issue that you had there. I can't tell you how few times my own teacher had that accent and said that sort of thing to me. Almost never happened. Okay, fine. No. So, having made an insightful comment, we can submit that and finish the question. The thing is that then we start to show you what everybody else has said. So your responses are going to be on show only after you've made your response. So now you can see, kind of typically I'm at the top of the class there with the best response. It's been voted up the most. So I can allocate a vote or two. You're going to vote yourself up. Unbelievable. And so I can see what everybody else is thinking, not just me. We found these sorts of questions to be really quite persuasive in getting people to think a little bit more before they type something, before they get past anything. Let's finish and continue learning. So, having done that, we've now reached the next level. We've got a new objective, and we've got new content. So the old content's pushed out a little bit, new content in the middle of the screen. I'm not going to go through that again. You get the idea. Present content, contribute, level up, new content. All the way along as we've been doing this, we've been adding stuff in the background to our portfolio. So if you flick over to the portfolio, you'll see this timeline of what Jasper the dog has been doing whilst he's been going. And this is going to go down the page, listing out comments I made, bookmarks, end of gate answers, things like that, all coming down the page with times, how long you spent, how long it took, and things like that. All of this is exportable via Tin Can, and I'll show you more about that later. On the Peers tab, there's one thing that's quite important. We don't just want people that are in our learning experiences to just digest our content. We want them to be able to add back. So you can add objects at any time you like, either as a response to a question or just because you think you found something that's kind of interesting. So here's a few objects that other people have found. I cannot believe for a second that Ben Jest found Albert Bandura's social learning theory. It's a fabulous theory. It is. Tell me, no, I won't. So this is what other people are finding, and this gets curated automatically based on how many people are commenting, bookmarking, watching, viewing these things. So you're going to get the best content rising to the top. Finally, you can flick over to the Discover tab if you've got something in particular that you want to find or that you want to know more about. I want to know more about curation, James. So if I want to find more about curation, then here's some stuff that we've got. We've got some comments that people have made about curation. I've got an object about curation. These are ranked by what we think is going to be their most relevant. So actually, people's opinions are coming before the actual content itself in this sort of way. Let's flick back to the profile, because I want to show you those badges again. Looking at Jasper's profile, down the page a little bit, we start to see some of the quests that we've got available here. These are only very simple things, viewing, commenting, bookmarking. I want to get people going towards that more critical thought stuff. And so we can see these are progressing as we go. I mentioned the tin can stuff. Scroll up the screen a little bit, and it's only small because it's not particularly nice, but there's something that's kind of key here in this person's profile. This is what in tin can language we call an endpoint. This is where all the data that Jasper's been creating as he's been participating is going to go. And this is a special kind of endpoint because it's not just about collecting data you have from Curatr, it's about collecting data from anywhere you learn, be that in a system like this, be that on websites, or be that in person attending an event like that. And we've decided that actually we're going to put something together in that sort of area. And so we talked about Curatr a little bit, but I want to show you one more thing. And my one more thing is Learning Locker. Learning Locker is a brand new product that we're also releasing today. This is a personal store for your learning data. As we do more and more stuff online, as we take MOOCs, watch YouTube, do Curatr courses and things like that, I'm increasingly of the opinion that organizations shouldn't be the only people who can own that data. My learning data is kind of important, and data is kind of in the news at the moment, both from a privacy point of view, from an ownership point of view. You contribute to all of these online experiences, and where does that data go? It goes to the organization. They can run some stats on what you completed or what you did, and that's interesting for about 5 minutes. But if you leave, or you move somewhere else, or you want access to that information, it's gone. It should be yours. It's about you, or at least you should have a copy. So Learning Locker is an open source, free product that you can all sign up to and claim your own personal data locker for learning. It's tin can compliant, so anytime you take anything online that has a tin can endpoint available, you can start putting statements automatically. When we made Learning Locker, we realized that actually just owning data is really boring. We literally spent a month allowing people to own their data, and when we got there, it was dull. So at that point, we thought, okay, we've got to do something different here. We decided that actually what you needed to be able to do is to be able to store things in a safe, secure location, to be able to sort them into bundles that matter, bundles of experience that say a story about you, about what you're learning, and then to be able to share them, either in presentations or perhaps as data to third-party applications. So let's click on Learning About Social Learning. The idea is that with each bundle, we can align to a different experience in Curatr or wherever. So this is my Learning About Social Learning bundle. It has a bunch of different tabs in it. Plan, progress, statements, peers, presentation. The plan is kind of a guide. It sort of says, if you want to learn more about social learning, here's some stuff you can do. Some of them are really specific. Go and watch this video, see this blog, go all the rest of it, look at Wikipedia. Some of them, much wider, sort of thinking about how can you just create a portfolio of what you find? How can you tweet about it? How can you link into those things? How can you attend some events? There's a huge conference in America, DevLearn, going on in a month or so's time. They've got a whole track on social learning. So actually, you should be able to demonstrate that you've been there and you checked in and you've attended that. That's useful not just for your own CPD, but for a record for others. I can even tell that I attended a launch event about social learning. So you can tick these things off. Each one of them is part of a plan. If you go through, you'll start making progress. So the progress tabs has some handy graphs that show how much data you've been putting into this bundle in recent weeks and recent days. You can see that, generally speaking, I've got about 93% of the time that it recommended to spend learning a bit about social learning, still to go. And it will show you trends over the last 7 days. So you can set yourself times. I'm going to work on this an hour a week. I'm going to work on it 2 hours a week. And if we don't get 2 hours worth of data in that week, we'll ping you a notification, say, actually, time to pick it up again. The statements, this is the relatively dull tin can stuff. These are tin can statements. Just click on one of the little cogs. Anybody seen a tin can statement? That's what they look like. They're not pretty. But they are useful. So we're storing each of these. This is everything that Jasper's done. And you'll see that this is the stuff we were doing just moments ago in places. So we bookmarked emotions and learning. We did that just a couple of minutes ago. Everything's going in real time. Anything that I'm looking at on Curatr is coming in here. When James posted a comment, that's coming in here. When we looked at these different things, they're coming in here automatically. You don't need to think about it. It's just happening. Top of the screen, peers enables you to interact with other people doing this bundle, get some recommendations on what you might like to try out, see what the best resources are. And then finally, presentation. Presentation brings all of this together. Graphs, records of your experience, reflective spaces for you to write about what you've done and how you've done it, and a really quick and easy view button to boom out a publicly accessible web page of your experience. You can share that if you want to, or you can keep it private. The idea is that you will almost automatically be creating a portfolio of your experience that's a one-click share every time you're doing anything. The really key thing is that it's not just about viewing stuff, it's about curating stuff, it's about attending events, it's about capturing everything you do as a learner. Some of that we can do automatically with integrations via Tin Can. Some of it we need to use things like a bookmarklet. So if you just bring up the bookmarklet whilst you're there, you just click it there, it's fine. So this is something you can just put in your toolbar and click on it. So anytime you're browsing the web, you can just put in a statement very quickly of what you've done. Yeah, I read this page. It's going to pick it up automatically. Chuck it in. You can use our mobile app that's going to get released in a couple of weeks' time. That's got things like geolocation in it, a web browser that's automatically tracking what you're doing. All of that coming back to the Learning Locker. This is open source, this is free, and the most exciting thing about it is that we're really waiting to work with partners to develop new applications on the other side of this that take advantage of your experience. Because if we know a little bit about what you've done previously, then maybe we can start personalizing experiences for you to do in the future. If I know that James has been looking at social learning a lot, I can recommend something else for him to go to. Or we can get past that perennial pain that if I turn up to a new place and I've got to do health and safety 101, I've got evidence of it. Then maybe I don't need to do it. Maybe I go to level 2. I think there's a heck of a lot we can do when you take control of your learning data. So I'm absolutely adamant that everybody should be doing it. We're tracking everything. You should own it. That's Learning Locker. So I've talked for long enough. It's time for a beer. It's definitely time for a beer. 4 key next steps. 1, go and claim your early access to Learning Locker. You're the only people in the world that we're allowing access to Learning Locker from today. It will launch more officially towards the end of the month for other people, but we'll have a couple of hundred beta users in there for you to try it out, create your own bundles, do what you like. Going forwards, it will be really easy to sign up at a business level to create bundles that you can push out to your employees. Got to remember, though, those employees are going to own that data. You just get a right to look at it whilst they work for you. Second step, go and visit our new website, Curatr3.com. Put your name down for a MOOC or 2. We've got massive open online courses that are going to kick off on the 1st of October. Gamification and education, social learning, and one for your business people, managing customer service excellence. We're going to be rolling out more and more MOOCs and doing them on a rolling basis over the next couple of years. If you want to get a demo of anything I've talked about today, then people with dinosaurs on them will be out in the hall trying to give you demos of things. No, sorry. And then most importantly, please, thank you so much for joining us. It was kind of cool to be able to do this sort of thing. So please, go grab a drink, get yourself some food, and yeah, thank you so much.
So obviously outsiders can't come into your
So
bubbles.
it's protected.
Yeah, essentially.
So yeah, and then you're in that group, you're on that group, and then you're going to be able to filter down that stuff by the group.